Hello, everyone. Welcome. So we're just going to wait a couple minutes. And there she is. How are you, hon?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Okay. All right, let's wait a couple minutes for some people to start coming in.
Hi.
Hi.
I like how you did your hair.
Thank you. I wanted to show off my earrings, but I didn't want my hair to be in like a messy bun or anything.
Well, I like your messy buns too, but just that was cute. I keep fidgeting.
I'm worried that like I'm fully swiveling my chair all the time and I'm trying to like stay grounded. Okay. 15's enough, right?
Yeah.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I hope everyone's having a nice evening. This is our SAR Artists Live Intern Takeover series. This Intern Takeover is part of the SAR Artists Live series, a program that brings viewers behind the scenes and into the workspace of the many talented artists SAR has partnered with. I'm Racquel Geiogamah, and I am one of the 2021-22 Anne Ray interns. I would first like to open by acknowledging that I am a guest on this land. SAR is located on the traditional lands of the Tewa people, Ogopoge Awenge, Whiteshell Water Place, or Santa Fe, New Mexico. Surrounding the campus are the landscapes of Pueblo, Apache, and Navajo communities, whose people continue to maintain vital connections to this place. I wish to give my deepest respect and gratitude to all Indigenous ancestors who once lived here and to my fellow Indigenous peoples who continue to reside here. Thank you. So this program is supported in part by Shiprock Santa Fe, King Galleries, Thomas Clearly LLC, and partially funded by the City of Santa Fe Arts and Culture Department and the 1% lodger's tax. Also be sure to tune in next week for the next intern takeover where Raquel will be interviewing me. So now that we have all that finished, I would like to introduce our guest for this evening, the lovely and brilliant Raquel West. Raquel is originally from Seattle, where she worked as the collection outreach coordinator at the Burke Museum Bill Holmes Center for the Study of Northwest Native Art. Raquel earned her Bachelor of Arts in Geography and History with a minor in American Indian Studies from the University of Washington in 2020. She is interested in better understanding how museums can be utilized to affect large-scale change within our society by shifting towards community-driven processes. If during the talk, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask at any time in the comments down below. So now that I gave a bit of some background, Raquel, would you like to introduce yourself for everyone?
Yeah, hi everyone, and thank you, Rachel, for the introduction. As Rachel said, my name is Raquel. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a non-native Black person. I grew up in Coast Salish territory in Seattle, Washington, and I attended the University of Washington, getting a double major in geography and history with a minor in American Indian Studies. And it was with my programming that I learned a lot about settler colonialism and how, as a non-native person, my inaction perpetuates that colonialism. And so I knew that as I started to get into museum work, that I wanted to be learning about how to stand in solidarity with Indigenous communities, and that as I was in work, it was ever more important. So that's a little bit about me.
You're so impressive. I'm so proud of you. So kind of going off of that last point that you made, how did you get into museum work?
Yeah, I grew up loving museums. I was that kid that like read Black and felt that they could not leave a museum unless they had read everything. So it was a lot. But as I entered college and, as I had said, like, learning about settler colonialism and how this colonialism is an ongoing process, I knew I wanted to partake in dismantling this process. And so led me to take a study abroad course at Aotearoa, New Zealand, and the class was focusing on environment and sovereignty with the indigenous Maori people. And it was during this class that we started having conversations about representation and about museums and how museums have historically perpetuated the colonial agenda and kind of the power that museums have had and do have in our society. And it was a realization for me because I knew that museums were pillars of society. Obviously, like I was the kid that loved going to them, but it was this realization that they are trusted and seen as educational institutions, and that the general public at large is not to seek them. And so that was a really big realization for me. And but at the same time, we also met with Maori museum professionals who were using the museum platform to discuss equity, justice, and their sovereignty. And so I also, in this class, was seeing how museums are transformative places and could be transformed. And so that kind of started my thinking about what transforming these public institutions looked like. And so I kind of continued that work with a history thesis with the Suquamish Tribal Museum, writing a thesis about the history of their museum and how the museum and own representation in the museum space had influenced, affected the reservation. And so that was a wonderful learning opportunity, and I continued that thinking with a geography thesis where I helped host a 2-day pop-up art gallery, graduate students of color, and we kind of had a conversation about the races faced in the Pacific Northwest. And while the project was again looking at transformed spaces and own representation, it was also about coalition and solidarity between people of color on campus. And it was a really wonderful learning opportunity, and it's really taught me a lot about representation in museums, and I've been continuing to look into museums further as being these transformative places. And I continued being a volunteer archivist at the Suquamish Museum, and then, as I mentioned, I started working at the Bill Holm Center for the Study of Northwest Native Art, and now I'm here. And so now I'm getting to learn at the School for Advanced Research.
Yeah, I've heard this story before, but I just love it so much because I think that the opportunity that you had in New Zealand was such a special one, because I think a lot of people that first start getting into museums don't have that immediate opportunity to approach museums with an Indigenous lens, like right off the bat. A lot of people kind of come in with within a white institution. So I think that your beginnings is incredible. So your work and how you want to change the museum with decolonizing and restructuring the museum, is that why you decided to apply for the internship?
Yeah, so while I was working at the Burke, I learned a lot about collection access and how transforming collection spaces and the access to those spaces is really fundamental in changing museums. And so I knew I wanted to be learning more about collaborative collection care, and had heard about the School for Advanced Research and the Indian Arts Research Center as being at the forefront of these conversations. And so I kind of knew that I was really interested in the institution and wanting to learn more from the folks here. And the internship seemed like a really wonderful opportunity. It is a really wonderful opportunity. And something to also note is that it takes accompanying housing, and that is pretty rare in kind of internship world. And so I was interested for many reasons and have been really thankful to be learning here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that what drew me to this internship too was that idea of them being so focused on communities. I think that on their mission statement, even, I think they have something about bridging, and I think that that's such an important part, because that's kind of the work that both of us want to do, is bridging the divide between museums and communities, because that just is not happening right now. So next I wanted to ask what the application and interview process was like for you.
Yeah, the application has you submit your resume, CV, or resume, not CV. I meant to say cover letter. You write a cover letter. I believe it involves your transcript and then a letter of reference as well. And then there's also the interview process, and it is a group interview. And so there's like 5 or 6 folks who are going to be asking questions. And actually, it kind of reminds me a little bit of this, just in the sense that, you know, the questions are focused about how you got to what you're doing, why you want to, you know, be working in museums, how, you know, opportunity can help you get to where you want to go. And so I thought it was like everyone was so kind during that interview process. And it's also like a pretty quick turnaround time. I believe the application is due March 1st, and they let people know by the latest at May 1st. And I should also note that we had turned it in, or we had submitted our applications when they had to be in paper, and now there's an online portal, which I think is a wonderful adaptation. And I remember going to the like, why am I USPS? Why was I forgetting the word for like mail place? And I remember I was chatting with the person as I was like getting all the things in order, ready to send it out, and you know, they were like, "Are you sure it's gonna make it on time?" And I was like, "I hope."
Like, don't say that to me. You should know. You tell me.
Like, up, it's. I mean, I guess there is a timeline. Like, I need to be there by a certain time, but I was laughing at myself afterward because I was like, that was so stressful. And so I'm glad that they have an online portal as well. I think you can still mail it in if you would prefer, but they also have an online portal.
Yeah, they do. They can still do the mail-in one, but it was kind of the same for me. I remember like specifically being like, I need you to tell me exactly when it gets there, what time, like I need to be notified.
Yeah.
I was so nervous I wasn't going to be able to, like, my application wasn't going to be in. But yeah, this new online portal is so nice and so convenient. And also the whole interview process was like, I was prepared obviously, but it was very scary, which is so weird to me now, knowing who was in the interview with us and saying the questions, because it's like I had no reason to be nervous at all. Everyone is so wonderful here.
Yeah, really sweet. And they try and make you, you know, feel comfortable and not too nervous as the process is happening and unfolding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So now that both of us are here, and it's been like 5 months, I think, the time is just flying. But can you talk a little bit about your experience here living on campus and here in Santa Fe?
Yeah, so as was previously stated, I grew up in Seattle, Washington in the Pacific Northwest, which is known for having a rain cloud, you know, no clear skies for much of the year. And so coming down here has been totally different. And I've been enjoying the sun. I'm joking that sometimes the sunshine feels artificial because it's cold but sunny, and like I don't think I've ever like had such like or sunshine while it's cold. So that I think has been a big change for me. But the environment here is wonderful. Getting to be on campus is really wonderful, and we're really close to downtown Santa Fe as well, and so that's always a really nice walk. I was really eager to make a change and live in a different place, and so I am really appreciating getting to be down here. And Santa Fe is known for their museums and known for having tons of museums, and so getting to go to museums is, you know, a highlight. And you know, have I mentioned the sun? I'm still not over the sun. It's great, but the museums have been great. Being close to town, it's just a different eco region. Getting to like get outside and hike and you know, learning about the environment here has really, really been wonderful. I've really enjoyed it.
I'm so glad that you enjoy the sun, because I know for like when you first were here, and even before we left for December, all you were talking about were being like, I can't wait to go back so I can have the rain again.
Yeah. Why I was not expecting to miss like gray clouds. You know, the rain in itself, but also like overcast weather almost. I was like, man, for a gray day. It was nice to get to kind of go home for a little bit. Some rain. It was very ironically like snowy though in the Pacific Northwest, or like in Seattle. And so I actually got a lot of snow, which is what I've gotten, or what we've had, you know, in Santa Fe. But it was nice to get to go back and get a little gray, but I will definitely miss just like kind of turning your face to the sunshine and like feeling warm.
Yay.
That, you know, is not something I've had.
And I don't want to put you on the spot, but also you mentioned museums. So, like, what's your favorite museum?
I can't answer that. I would say that that's really hard to narrow down. Something that I actually don't think either of us have brought up yet is during our first kind of semester of the internship, we each were spending one day a week at a different museum. And so I was at the Museum of International Folk Art, and we're at the Wheelwright, and those museums are just a little bit away from the School for Advanced Research, and so it wasn't too far. And I think it was really cool getting to see that museum, like getting to see their exhibits, but also like, you know, getting to see behind the scenes and getting to work from them and learn from them as well. And so that's a really wonderful experience. I thought it was a kind of cool feature of the program, and getting to, you know, see a museum in the area more as well. And so I don't know if I would say like, you know, I have a favorite, but the Museum of International Folk Art has like a special spot in my heart.
Yeah. It definitely felt like an internship within an internship. I'd like trying to explain that to some people. It was very like, oh no, I'm at like my other internship.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm still working at the other place. I'm just also doing this too.
Yeah, I was explaining it in a way that made sense, because I was trying to be like, at a one day a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On top of doing that, here at the IARC, we work with 3 different departments. So can you talk a little bit about the departments that we work with and the projects that you're doing?
Yeah. So we work with collections, the registrar, and primarily, though we have like kind of collaborated or worked with communication and development as well. And we've kind of been doing a lot. So our weeks our week is, you know, shifting kind of time slots for each department. And so we've gotten to do so much with all 3 of them. Some projects that we've worked on with collections include textile labeling, which I was a big fan of. I didn't know that I liked to sew before textile labeling, but textile labeling, you're using a sewing, or you can be using a sewing technique so that the textile, you know, this label doesn't affect the textile too much. And I really enjoyed it. I really had a good time. And so we worked on that. We've done condition reporting, you know, mount making, doing a, you know, inventory project, just really learning a lot with collections. With registration, we've been doing, you know, photo projects. We've been learning the database in and of itself, and so that has been a really great opportunity. I'm getting to use the museum system, TMS, which is, you know, a very popular museum database, and getting to kind of do a lot of like updating the database and figuring out how databases can be really efficient for museums. And so that has been really cool with registrar. And for education, we've been working on a lot. We're both doing those things. I guess I can say I just realized I was
It's hard, I know.
We speak together a lot, folks. So I'm saying like we, because it's really like Rachel and I. Anyway, okay.
Constantly.
We are a pair. We're together a lot. I lost my train of thought. Education, online exhibits. We've been doing a lot of social media posting, um, and curriculum building, and we're going to be doing an in-person exhibit coming up more in the spring. Just like tons of projects, and they're all like juggling. The really cool thing about it is that we're working on things and projects that the center and SAR is working on, but like kind of through the lens of what we're interested in as well. And so there's tons of stuff to get involved with.
Yeah, the going back to like the collection section with like the textile labeling, I'm just so impressed. You were so fast and so good at it. I'd like complete 2 within like our collection period, and you would like finish like half of the ones we were supposed to do like alone. You get 10 done at my 2. It's very impressive.
Thank you. It was really fun, like for whatever reason, and that's not, I have not found a group like that with any of our other projects, but for textile labeling, I was like, this makes sense for me. Like, I feel like I know what I'm doing. Like, I know how to do it in a really kind of therapeutic, almost like method.
Yeah, just completely just get in the zone.
Getting in the zone, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So this next question is very difficult, but what has been your favorite aspect of being an Anne Ray intern?
Oof, that is hard. I think something that I've been really interested in about museum is how all of these different departments interact and engage with each other. And I think it's really important in, the conversation of the colonial agenda within museum and how these departments, fit together, and the responsibility that all of them have in, the transformative process. And so I have found it really interesting to get to spend time with all of these different departments and really learn how they work, learn how they kind of communicate with the others. And I think that has just been really cool, and getting to be a part of the whole museum, because I mean, being a part of one department is awesome as well, and that's great. And many people, that's how their job works, is that you're in a certain department. But I've found it as just being like an internship where you are learning all of these things. It is so cool to get to spend time with all of the different and like see how they work, and see what things that we really like about each department, or about what we're really interested in. If textile labeling was a job, I would want to. And I also just think learning from everyone here is a favorite aspect of this internship. Everyone is so wonderful, and it has been such a joy and an honor getting to learn from all of them, and hear their stories and see how they do their work and how they do their work in a good way. And it is just really wonderful to get to be here and learn from everyone. So I would say that.
Yeah, I think it's such a unique experience because like broadly it's SAR, but like how we work is specifically with the IARC, and we're such like a smaller staff that we truly get to like work all together and see each other like every single day. And it's nice to have that experience for sure. And like you were saying, that like the ability to work in like multiple different departments is really nice, because I think both of us really came here already kind of knowing where we wanted to go within museum work. But if we didn't have this experience, you wouldn't have known that you were such amazing at textile labeling and that you can do that.
Again, I really enjoy it.
So our final question, which actually, since we only have like 4 months left of the internship, sadly, is how have you felt that SAR has prepared you for your next steps?
Yeah, I think, again, kind of a feature about getting to work with, all 3 departments and, SARs at large, is getting to work on projects that that you want to be like learning those skills from. And so like getting to really kind of flesh out your skill set, you know, the opportunity kind of that we have of just being like, oh, like I'd love to learn that. Like I don't know how to do that. I'd love to learn about this or that. And I think that that is also really unique. Again, since it's like so broad, I feel like we're getting such a large experience within the museum world and field. And so I think that the internship is also quite like tailored to what we're interested in. You know, the folks that we're working with are just like, hey, like let us know what you want to be learning as well, and so that we can ensure that like you have some experience getting some skills with, you know, what you want to be doing. And so I think that really prepares someone for kind of their next steps at large. And I mean, even though that, as you mentioned, like had, you know, a kind of an idea or direction that we felt like we were going in within the museum world, I am so grateful for this experience to learn about, you know, all of these other skills and acquire some skills that I per se know that I would be needing, using, and I'm really just thankful to have to get experience with them. And so I think that it's a very like tailored program to the individual and also broad, which I didn't know those could coexist, but they do. It's really that kind of really sets you up to, you know, experience what you want to keep learning and keep going it within in the future, and like cool, like I'm glad I learned that, and maybe that's not what I want to do every day, and that's okay too. And so I think that it is really unique in that way as well.
Yeah. So is there anything else that you would like to add or shout out before we go?
What, did anyone have any questions? I don't think we got any questions either.
I don't believe so, no.
Have any questions? I'm trying to think if there's anything that I was thinking that I should bring up. Apart from my wonderful friend Tina Bear Don't Walk made these really beautiful earrings. That's what's up, Olivia. And if you are interested in looking at more of her work, you can find her Instagram with work on it at Crowegian at Instagram. At her Instagram handle is Crowegian. So yeah.
Nice. Well,
oh wait, you tell us about your earrings.
Oh yeah, these things. This is from an Indigenous artist here on Instagram. Their handle is Thisclaw, THISCLAW. They do amazing work, and every time I wear these, I get so many compliments. They're amazing.
They're very beautiful and sparkly.
So if there's no other questions,
wait, really quick, I do also want to spell Tina's Instagram handle. It's at CROWEGIAN. I was like, that's a great idea.
Right, well, thank you everyone so much for spending your evening here with me and Raquel. We both were extremely nervous, but I think it went really well, and you did an amazing job, and I think that everyone here would agree as well. So just to say again, be sure to join us next week for the next intern takeover, where I will be interviewed. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm you and your answer.
Yeah, it's fine. It'll be great. It'll be great. So please come and join us. It'll be fun. Yeah, so thank you all, and Raquel so much for joining, and we will see you next week. Bye, everyone.